I'm here with Stuart Dinyer, and he's the CEO of New Western. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
How have you enjoyed the 5-Star Conference so far?
It's been excellent. It's busy. Very busy.
Excellent. And one of the big topics of discussion, and I'm going to bring it up, going to go straight on with it right now, is in one word, how would you describe the state of the housing market?
It's changing. Change is very much the theme of what's going on today.
And it's kind of the theme of what we have at the conference here is evolve.
That makes sense.
And how are you evolving in your business?
So we're a marketplace for real estate investors, and we buy and sell individual SFR assets and through our marketplace. And so what we're trying to do is to adapt to a changing marketplace. That there's a raising interest rates environment, supply constraints that are happening everywhere. And so what we're trying to do is just try to stay at a float and stay where the market is liquid. Mm-hmm. That's the premise of our business. So we're not selling at the top of the market or the bottom of the market. We just try to stay where an investor is in tune and where they are doing business. So, and we're nationwide. So that depends. And geography is different. Higher price point markets are working very differently to lower price point markets. And so we're working on a localized level to try to stay very in tune with what's going on in each localized market.
And you're nationwide?
Almost, yeah. Lots of markets, not quite there yet, but we stretch from east to west.
Okay. And so with all of that in mind, what would you say from your client base? How would you say that they've had to adapt through these changing times?
I think that everyone's got to get used to different lending pricing, different lending standards even, and I think the gap in between what a seller is still wanting to acquire or sell the property for and what a buyer is wanting to buy a property for is changing very rapidly. I was just in the roundtable that we were doing, and we were discussing the difference in this value, and a lot of that valuation is changing because people are having to sell properties lower.
Right.
But what's going to start to happen is appraisal values are going to start to come down as a result of that, because as these prices migrate down, appraisals work on a lag. So as these lower price points start to appear, all these stalling price points start to appear, so values in the form of appraisals is going to stall as well. So that's what we're seeing everywhere, and it's just a readjustment for what was to what is.
Are you using any new technologies as far as your business is concerned?
We built our own technology. This industry was in dire need of technology revolution. It got it. But for what we do specifically, we needed to build our own. We tried some plug and play. It didn't work for us.
Tell me about that.
We built, before it got cool, we built our own AVM, which is an automatic valuation, and we leaned heavily on that. But our structure is to standardize these transactions and make them more comprehensible and digestible to people, open borders up, and all of our agents work within the same platform, which is our platform that we built out. All the way, we think next spring maybe we'll be to a place where we can do the entire transaction online without ever having to step away from our platform, which is something we need to do for the speed and the transparency that we need to have in our transactions. So it's an ongoing thing. I don't think technology ever ends.
No, and so those benefits that you mentioned from from what you've developed, that trickles down to your customer.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what to expect.
Right.
One of the hardest, I was discussing this with a very clever bunch of folk just last week. One of the hardest parts about real estate is that everything is different. You can get one standardized contract, but the house is never the same. And so what we try to do is create an expectation built around expecting the same every time. Now, the inventory of the house may need more work, it may need less work, but you can expect the same standardized contract, the same standardized process, the same standardized closing process, communication, and that, the more of this standardization you can do, the easier and better to understand these kinds of transactions can be.
As far as first-time home buyers are concerned, what's that landscape you feel is starting to look like?
I think that for once, I think everybody's on the same page. I think everybody's taking a step back, looking up and watching what's going on. That's what I'm seeing. There's no lack of demand for housing is what we're seeing, but people are running the play, taking a closer look and just waiting to see what goes on. The Fed is very aggressive right now. And I think everybody, whether you're the most experienced real estate investor or whether you're a first-time home buyer, is just looking back and taking stock of where interest rates are, because they could go up, they could go down. and hopefully the Fed sticks to the script.
You have any advice for any home buyers out there, or is it wait and see what's going to happen at the beginning of next month? What do you got?
Well, we're servicing a professional real estate, semi-professional real estate investor. So I think everybody is doing a little bit more due diligence. I think everyone is taking a little bit more time, being a little bit more choosy with whatever product, whether they're a first time or a second time. Everyone's reviewing maybe more loans. I think the time of getting 30 offers on your house has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
People want an inspection period. They want to have a look at the property. And I think that's going to be the status quo going forward. So just get comfortable with the transaction and work within your parameters. The market is not driving like it used to, so it gives you just a little bit of a breathing room.
Yeah, and like you said in the beginning, speaking with me about change being that word, I think that having them open to the change, using technology, being comfortable trying new things in order to not only buy but to sell, and every aspect of it, really.
I think it is maybe an overused, but the landscape in this space is changing. I think if anything, we are all able to catch our breath. The innovation that was so incredible in 2012 and moving forward, the prop tech space, all of the different add-ons that have happened are starting to slow, and everyone's getting more recalibrated and understanding the new dynamics and the change, whether it's an iBuyer or whether it's just a mum and pops or a first-time home buyer. I think everybody's getting a little bit more information. The democratization of information has happened.
Yep.
And will continue to happen. And so, but I don't think that change and the way that the market is going to stop. I think it's going to continue. There's new entrants, there's new people, there's new ways of doing things, funding, lending, fintech. Every aspect is touching this ginormous space.
Right. Are you looking at all into some of the blockchain?
Yes, I am actually. We're kind of a trade platform, fascinated by it, very intriguing. I think we've been in the first inning for blockchain for a very long time.
Uh-huh.
I think it's got some real upside, but there is a language barrier for blockchain for so many people, me included.
Right.
But it's not an easy thing, and I think for a professional or a large operator, it makes sense. But I think for your average buyer of a single family, for someone that's buying a first time home, second time home, they're not going to be integrated with it. They're not going to sit down and learn
sell.
it. But I see the absolute virtues and the value in the blockchain, and I've actually been involved in 2 conferences the last few weeks. I'm very interested.
Excellent. Well, there you have it. A lot of new information, change being the main focus that we spoke about, and again, evolution and evolving in the industry. And here you have it firsthand with Stuart Denyer. I really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. All the best.
MP5 is a resource for industry information. I hope you liked what you've been watching so far. If you have any questions, please reach out to events@the5star.com. Like, follow, and subscribe both YouTube and LinkedIn to stay up to date on all of our news and releases.